Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Downwar. Today I'm going to give you a first look at the talent changes coming to DPS Warrior in the War Within expansion. Before we get started, I must preface this by saying that what we're looking at is a first draft, a first iteration, and will by no means look the same as we approach the expansion release. Myself, other top guild warriors, and the warrior theory crafters will absolutely be communicating required and desired changes to the developer throughout this alpha and beta cycle, and you can also let them know your thoughts on the relevant forum threads once they're open. With the necessities out of the way, let's get started. The class tree has undergone a pretty significant design change from its Dragonflight version. Multiple talent nodes have been shifted, and some talents even removed. Most obvious will be the new location for Shockwave. With paths leading into it from both Pain and Gain and Thunderclap, it's become much more accessible. All of this does come at a minor cost, however, as Shockwave no longer generates any rage. Additionally, the Sonic Boom talent has been removed, but Rumbling Earth remains. In an effort to combat the vast amount of rage generation that we've faced during Dragonflight, the Furious Blows talent has been removed, and Frothing Berserker has been nerfed. Frothing Berserker now offers a 20% chance at refunding 10% of the cost of Mortal Strike and Cleave for Arms, or Rampage for Fury. Previously, this refund was 20%. This may not sound like a big change, particularly for Arms, but considered across the entirety of a 10+ minute fight, it does add up. The loss of Furious Blows is a fairly elegant solution to the rage generation issue, as losing 5% attack speed will mostly be felt by Arms more so than Fury, which does make sense, as Arms was a generally bigger culprit of rage overflow. Some other notable changes are as follows. Barbaric Training and Sidearm are now a choice node. Seismic Reverberation and Concussive Blows are now a choice node. Reinforced Plates has been reduced to 10% increased armor, down from 20. Berserker Shout and Piercing Howl have been relocated from their old position here, and Berserker Rage is now baseline. Endurance Training is now a 2-point talent, offering 5 and 10% increased stamina. Champion Spear Rage Generation has been halved, 10 rage now, down from 20. And lastly, and probably most controversially, Thunderous Words has been changed. Previously, this talent would increase the damage of your bleeds by 15% at all times. Now the damage increase has been doubled to 30%, but is only active on targets afflicted by Thunderous Roar. My initial thought for this change is an attempt to start pushing Arms in particular away from supplanting a lot of its damage with bleeds, and to shift more damage into abilities instead. This does offer better synergy with Uproar now, however, as more Thunderous Roar uptime benefits you in more ways than just pure raw damage. Moving into Arms, the first thing you've likely noticed is the gaps in the tree. Both Reaping Swings and Tide of Blood have been removed. Cleave now has a 6-second base cooldown only affected by Haste and Battle Lord. Meanwhile, Tide of Blood has been baked into Skull Splitter, making it a much cleaner investment. Another notable change is the reintroduction of Ravager as a choice node with Bladestorm. The follow-on capstone talents all affect both Ravager and Bladestorm equally, aside from Merciless Bone Grinder, which is active for a flat 9 seconds when Bladestorm ends, or for the duration of Ravager, which is 12 seconds baseline affected by Haste. This was quite the requested change, and seemingly quite good on paper, even though the decision of which to play will mostly come down to what hero talents you're playing. Anger management does affect both Ravager and Bladestorm. Arms has a number of other notable changes, including improved Overpower grants a second charge of Overpower. Tactician and Deft Experience have had their individual proc chances reduced to 1% each, giving a total 2% proc chance per point of rage spent, down from 2.5%. Improved Slam has been removed and replaced by Finishing Blows, a new talent causing Overpower to give 8 rage when used on targets below 35%. Subsequently, this portion of Strength of Arms has been removed. Collateral Damage now gives additional damage to either your next Cleave or Whirlwind. Additionally, Collateral Damage shares a choice node with improved sweep. Storm of Swords has been redesigned. Whirlwind now has a 30% chance to make your next Whirlwind free. Dreadnought no longer gives a second charge of overpower and now shares a choice node with Strength of Arms. In for the Kill now lasts the duration of Colossus Smash instead of a flat 10 seconds. Valor in Victory now offers 2% versatility instead of 1%, but is generally much less conveniently placed. Bladestorm no longer generates Rage. Battlelord no longer generates Rage. And several abilities have had their Rage cost altered. Rend is now 20 Rage down from 30. Thunderclap is now 20 Rage down from 30. Whirlwind is now 20 Rage down from 30. And Ignore Pain is now 20 Rage down from 35. Barbaric Training now increases Slam and Whirlwind damage by 20% down from 30, but Critical Strike damage is also increased by 10%. The increased Rage cost for Slam and Whirlwind have been removed. And lastly, Warlord's Torment no longer causes Recklessness to proc from Colossus Smash, only from Avatar. The Recklessness caused by Avatar is a 6-second duration. And I will say, I've played with this, and it feels really, really bad. Lastly, onto Fury. There are significantly less changes here, but still a few important ones to note. Once again, likely the first thing you've noticed is the gaps in the tree, particularly around the sides. Improved Whirlwind and Meat Cleaver have swapped places with Wrath and Fury, while completely kicking Raging Armaments out of the tree entirely. There is no access to a third charge of Raging Blow anymore, not that it was ever really needed in the first place. On the other side of the tree, Single-Minded Fury is still around, but now has Frenzied Flurry baked into it. All of you SMF enjoyers now only need to take a 1-point penalty to play your preferred way instead of 2 points. Improved Enrage has been renamed to Frenzied Enrage, but its functionality is unchanged. It does, however, now share a choice node with a new talent, Powerful Enrage. This talent increases all your ability damage by an additional 15% and increases Enrage's duration by 1 second. Due to this, Tenderize no longer offers increased Enrage duration. Onslaught does remain a very powerful ability though. Some other notable changes are as follows. Deft Experience no longer lowers the cooldown of Bloodthirst, instead offering 2 and 4% increased Enrage proc chance. Bladestorm has returned. Just like Arms, it no longer generates Rage, and the follow-on talents work for both Ravager and Bladestorm, and both are affected by anger management. Over in the class tree, Blood and Thunder doesn't exist for Fury, offering only Crackling Thunder instead. And finally, much to the joy of many of you I'm sure, both Storm of Swords and Annihilator have been removed. The Dragonflight Season 3 Fury playstyle was a big point of contention among Fury Warrior enjoyers, but now it seems those days are long gone and unlikely to return. The Storm of Swords-esque playstyle is marginally captured by the Mountain Thane hero talents due to Thunderclap replacing Whirlwind and having a cooldown. Meanwhile, Annihilator has potential to return to the tree, whether it be below Single-Minded Fury in place of Frenzied Flurry, or even baked into SMF entirely. It seems unlikely that Single-Minded Fury will see play as things stand, so powering up the talent even further doesn't seem to be too dangerous. That's pretty much it in terms of the most noteworthy changes, at least in this initial version of the reworked talents. Granted, there does seem to be a bit of work to go, but the immediate focus on Rage generation has been a promising first step if nothing else. I did just want to make this video as a quick rundown of the changes rather than giving my full opinions, that's why I've held back a little bit, but I'll most likely talk more about my own thoughts on the trees over on my stream in the coming days. If you want to find me, it's twitch.tv/Dan_war. You can also follow me on Twitter at method_downwar, as that's where I'll likely put most of my immediate thoughts during the alpha and beta cycle the moment any changes are released. Let me know your thoughts on these initial changes in the comments below. I am hoping to ramp up content to YouTube during the lead into War Within, so maybe subscribe if you don't want to miss any new videos as they come out. Thank you for your time and attention, and I'll see you again.